Alright, so as the title says, this is going to be a spoiler review for Green Lantern Beware My Power. So I borrowed this from the library on Blu-ray, didn't know what to expect. Most Green Lantern animated stuff is good. I enjoy Green Lantern First Flight and Green Lantern Emerald Knights. I haven't seen the Bruce Timm animated show, but this one is about John Stewart, and I like John Stewart Green Lantern because he was in the Justice League show back in the day, so a lot of nostalgia watching this movie. However, this one is more violent. It starts off with an Afghanistan flashback. John Stewart is a Marine. The Marine Corps stuff wasn't really brought up in Justice League except for the time travel episode. But John Stewart basically saves a homeless man from being immolated in a really cheesy scene at the beginning of the movie. These two guys want to burn a homeless man alive, and he fights them, and after the homeless man runs away, the two bad guys, they grab weapons and they're trying to kill John Stewart for no reason, and then he takes them out, and then the cops arrest him, and they're like, do we really want to arrest this black man, war veteran? I don't want to be raked on social media. And it's just a bad dialogue scene. So, I mean, that's not a big deal because he's not Green Lantern yet. But he takes a taxi home. A spaceship crashes near him. And then one of the Guardians of Oa gives him a power ring. So now he's Green Lantern. And he can't take it off. And he gets sent to the Justice League Watchtower where he bumps into Martian Manhunter, Vixen, and Green Arrow. They have a quick fight for no reason, kind of like Avengers, the first movie. And then they're like, "Whoa, wait a sec! He's a Green Lantern, but that's Hal's power ring. So we need to go on a spaceship journey." So I kind of like the whole Star Wars kind of vibe. They're going on spaceships. They don't know each other that well. There's a lot of aliens they bump into, and the first one they bump into is Shayera Hall. Another fight scene ensues, and she's great because there's a lot of conflict. She's like a more rough around the edges. This isn't the same Shayera Hall from the Justice League show. So I like that aspect. She's a great source of conflict, and I like Green Arrow because he's like the everyman. And then they go to another planet and they find Adam Strange, and most of this movie is not bad. I mean, the action's really great. The animation's really nice too. I watched this movie on Blu-ray, so whenever there's a fight scene, it looks smooth and well done. The music's kind of shit. I think that the biggest reason why this movie sucks is the big twist at the end. I'm going to spoil it. Basically, they find Hal Jordan. He's not dead. He's in a prison, Sinestro's prison. And Sinestro's been trying to break him. So after they defeat Sinestro and Sinestro's little group of baddies, we find out that Sinestro actually did something to Hal Jordan. Basically, the plot, I haven't gotten into the main plot, but basically Sinestro and his mercenary buddies started a fake war with Rann and Thanagar. Rann and Thanagar had a peace treaty. They were going to create a sort of Zeta beam bridge between the worlds. However, Sinestro, he sabotaged it, and then it caused Hal to use up a lot of his power, and then he got smacked down, and then I believe it was Thanagar got transported to Rann, ruining the ecosystem, causing millions of deaths or whatever. And then that started the Rann-Thanagar war. So while Hal Jordan was injured, he sent his ring away so that Sinestro couldn't have it, and that's why John Stewart has it. So Sinestro was like, okay, you're naked and you're vulnerable, I'm going to give you parallax. So that's kind of the big twist, oh no, Hal Jordan has parallax. But then that's done in a montage flashback. And then we find out that parallax Hal Jordan goes to the Guardians and kills all of the Guardians and all of the Green Lanterns. It's so hammy, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I know parallax is pretty powerful, and so is Sinestro, but can the two of them literally just go to the planet of Oa, kill everyone there, and then Hal absorbs all of the rings. The rings they shouldn't do that though. When a Green Lantern is killed, usually the ring goes to another person, right? That's how it works. It goes to find another worthy person. Instead, the rings just stay on the fingers of the dead people, and then Hal takes all of them, and he's all dripped out with a dozen rings on his fingers, and then he's all like, I'm evil, Hal Jordan, ha ha, and then he makes Sinestro his bitch, and then he's like, now I want to eliminate everyone in the world, and create it in. It's just such a bad cliche bastardization of the character. I mean, I'm not a super fan of Hal Jordan, but it's really disrespectful to the character to make him such a cartoonish, cliche villain. Like, I understand that, you know, a lot of stuff has happened to Hal Jordan in the comics. You know, he was indeed infected by parallax. He's been the Spectre. He's fought in the color, was it the Ring Wars or whatever? And, you know, Darkest Night. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the comics. He's also gotten beat up by a guy made of wood, and you know, that was dumb. But just because it happens in the comics doesn't mean you have to use it, or you can use the creative license, but you have to do it in a good way. And they kind of just piss all over Hal Jordan's character because he does a total 180 in the span of like a montage. He went from, I'm the greatest Green Lantern the universe has ever seen, to I'm sending my ring away and now I'm infected by a parasite and now I'm super evil Green Lantern. But I'm extra evil Green Lantern, ha ha ha. And then he, like, you know, fights all of the main characters. We find out that, yeah, he wasn't a prisoner, he was the boss. And then he fights all of them, you know, Adam Strange, Hawkgirl, Green Arrow, and John Stewart. But then, you know, even though he's got like 12 rings on him, they managed to fight him off in a really cliche scene that mimics something that happened to John Stewart in Afghanistan. And it's really like just bad. The movie wasn't that awful to begin with, honestly. Like 75% of this movie is basically just bad music, kind of like a Star Wars kind of vibe, action every 10 minutes. Pew pew pew, you know, it wasn't too awful, but then that last twist just kicks the movie in the face. Having Hal Jordan become the villain and becoming like a super evil, calling himself a god and wanting to, like, you know, wipe out humanity, not humanity, he wanted to wipe out everyone in the universe. And then he dies in such a shitty way. No redemption. It was just really bad writing, to be honest. A lot of the characters in this movie feel really robotic and stiff. It was written by two humans, apparently, John Semper and Ernie Altbacker. But they have a lot of clunky dialogue, too. The only characters that have really any personality are Shea Hull and Green Arrow. I like those two. John Stewart's a little stiff too. I mean, Sinestro's great for what you get with him, but the last act twist was terrible. Voice acting wasn't too bad. I mean, Jimmy Simpson, Aldous Hodge, you know, it wasn't awful, but yeah, the movie just seemed really basic to start. It's kind of like a brawny sci-fi action-heavy story. And then you have cliche Hal Jordan becoming evil Hal Jordan, evil 10 rings, and, you know, just really left a bad taste in my mouth. I literally like shouted "what" when the movie was happening. So that, and honestly, all those points worked the film down into probably, in my opinion, the worst DC animated film. So those are my thoughts on that.